This man never expected that simply demonstrating his ultimate move, the invisible blade draw, to his student would lead to such a result. Despite being an advanced technique that even he himself hadn't fully mastered, Noru, a beginner, was able to see through and imitate the move perfectly. This realization hit Shirgu like a ton of bricks. Noru might have potential that surpassed his own. But months passed, and Noru learned only one skill, a defensive parry to block damage. He hadn't mastered anything else useful. Shirgu was at a loss. He hadn't expected Noru to lack any talent for swordsmanship. At this point, continuing to train him seemed like a waste of time. So, Shirgu suggested Noru try another weapon, maybe his talent would show in a different area. Noru then joined the warrior training program. Warriors were the team's tanks, and they needed to have a tough body to withstand physical hits. The first lesson was enduring falling rocks from a mountain slide. Noru's instructor was surprised when Noru, a beginner, stuck with the grueling training for 2 whole months. Even more shocking was when Noru took a giant boulder head-on during an accident, standing tall with a steely gaze that left his teacher in awe. If Noru learned a strong technique, he could become an unbreakable shield. But after 3 months, the only thing Noru gained was a stronger body. His instructor recommended he try hunter training instead. The hunter teacher initially didn't want to take Noru in, sensing he might be troublesome. So, she gave him a seemingly impossible task, hit a tree branch hundreds of meters away with a stone. She thought that once Noru failed, she could find an excuse to kick him out. But Noru surprised her by hitting the target every single time. Reluctantly, she accepted him into the program. However, her premonition wasn't wrong. Noru had a habit of breaking bows every time he drew one. Even the teacher's personal bow was ruined by Noru's careless handling. Now, the teacher had no choice but to let Noru practice stone throwing. Surprisingly, Noru excelled at it. He could hit anything without guidance, as he had used this method to hunt birds on the mountain. The teacher, listening to Noru's description, realized he was talking about the lightning-swift bird, a creature even high-level hunters had difficulty hitting. Noru, however, could hit it even with his eyes closed. The teacher realized Noru didn't need any more training. After 3 months of training, the teacher told Noru to leave. But Noru felt he hadn't learned anything. The teacher explained that Noru's other skills were lacking. He was only good at throwing stones. She found Noru troublesome. Yet, it was clear that without a bow, Noru was quite capable. Noru then moved on to assassin training. The main focus here was to disarm traps to open treasure chests. Unlike the other students, Noru wasn't cautious. He charged straight at the traps, catching the ones he could with his hands and deflecting the ones he couldn't with a parry. The assassin teacher was impressed by Noru's skill, but she realized it wasn't the point of the training. At the end of 3 months, Noru still hadn't learned to disarm traps, and he couldn't sense the presence of enemies, making him unfit to be a scout. However, the teacher did appreciate his resilience and mental strength and considered recruiting Noru into the kingdom's intelligence team. Next came the magic training program. After 2 months, Noru hadn't learned anything. The magic teacher quickly realized Noru had